And at 10, booking it. When the power goes out, you're usually done for, but usually you just have to sit there and wait for your death, unless you end up exiting and restarting the game, because you might as well if you're guaranteed death, right? Well, this is fairly well known, but you are actually always guaranteed death when that slowed March of the Toreador plays. Because thanks to the way the game works, the time to 6 AM is still counting down. I mean, which makes sense given how time works in real life too. It doesn't just stop because an animatronic decided to start singing a song that was in the public domain. So in all honesty, while waiting for that jump scare, or in the middle of any jump scare really, you can survive to end your shift. And the reason this is scary is because of the implications that it has. That once 6 AM hits, you just freaking book it to the door. So you, like, no stopping, no slowing down, okay, no tripping like in every horror movie ever, and you instead just beeline it and like it faster than Chica on her way to get free pizza. And this implies that you can do it at any time in the game, but you willingly stay there to get tortured and then just with the ultimate threat of death. I mean, which either makes you an adrenaline junkie or me, because today on my lunch break I learned that my toaster is waterproof. There should always be like the threat of death, right? But like it has to be the right amount of threat of death, otherwise it's not worth it. And at 9, Golden Freddy. Now, it's unknown whether Golden Freddy's jump scare was intentionally meant to crash the game or not. If you're unaware because you haven't played the game or just never been jump scared by Golden Freddy, if Golden Freddy gets you during whatever nights he's active, instead of sending you back to the main menu of the game where you can try the night over, he sends you right to the desktop and closes the game. Now, this was originally thought to be a glitch, but with the addition of Golden Freddy doing the same thing in FNAF 2, we thought that perhaps it was intentional. However, the biggest issue with this is that if it was originally a glitch, that's freaking terrifying. Imagine how absolutely messed up that would end up being. Not because of like any like lore implications or whatever, but because of how many theories there would be about why it was happening like that. And then maybe it proves that the FNAF series is actually cursed and that there are aspects that are real and Afton is trying to escape into our world. Because basically, okay, it's scary because it means a whole lot of pointless work for me having to talk about all that. So I'd rather not do it, and let's just leave it at the fact that it was an intentional glitch. And it ain't stuck, Foxy. Thanks to a couple users on Steam, I found out that in FNAF 1 in FNAF VR's flat mode, you can close the left door and spam the button that allows you to peek out, triggering a Foxy attack. Foxy will eventually get stuck and stay still in front of your door. Now, I don't know if this actually ends up causing him to block the door, preventing Bonnie from entering, but it was certainly an interesting glitch that could be very frightening. Imagine you forget about it, then you open the door and you find Foxy just waiting outside, but he doesn't move. He just stands there, waiting for the perfect opportunity to attack. I don't know, okay? I don't know if he actually ends up attacking. None of these comments were very specific about this glitch, like saying that they just said that he gets stuck at the door. Like, what does that even mean? Is he just frozen for the rest of the game, or is he like a oh no, what are you doing, step animatronic situation where they're just faking you to lure you into a false sense of security, and then boom, they tear you to shreds, and not in the good way. And at 7, stuck door. Not only will the animatronics play the stuck game, but apparently in the console port of FNAF 1, the doors will do so as well. And not in the classic way of just trying to mess with you, like they will actually be unoperational, particularly the right door, which is odd because the one that likes to stop working more, at least from my experience, seems to be the left door. I know what you're thinking, okay? They're supposed to do that, but that's not what I'm trying to say, okay? What they're not supposed to do is register that they're closed and then start consuming power like they are, but then not actually be closed and result in a Chica jump scare, because that's what happened to quite a few Reddit users from the looks. They hit the button and it closed the door, the power usage went up, however the door animation didn't play and it was still wide open. But since the sound and power had started working, they thought that it was just a visual glitch, so they kept going, only to get jump scared by Chica seconds later. Ah, what fun, right? Doesn't that sound like a wonderful time? What, it doesn't? How dare you say that? What makes you think of such a monstrosity? What are you doing, step electromagnet door that should work in the opposite way that it actually does in the game? And at 6, danger keep out call. The phone calls in FNAF are really something you only need once. After that, unless you're looking for lore, there isn't really much that they can help you with, unless you're absolutely trash at the game like yours truly. However, in the FNAF VR Curse of Dreadbear DLC, the final phone call for the Danger Keep Out minigame may be a little more than meets the ear, since if you can perform a series of actions with the call, or maybe it's just like you put it on hold or something, or at one point I think it's just you pick it up, something like that, you end up causing the whole area to turn static and pulse as if it was being scanned. The end result is that sometimes you just get put back to the starting screen of the DLC. And yeah, you don't complete the night, you gotta go back and you gotta try it again. But while it may be an intentional glitch, so I guess it's rather an Easter egg, it will still certainly freak you out the first time you see it, okay? So it counts. This scared the absolute living daylights out of me the first time I saw it, so maybe now that I've warned you, you won't be as terrified. You're welcome. Halfway through into number 5, double jump scare. Did you know that in FNAF's coding there are actually jump scare priorities? Yeah, some animatronics are more favored than others to deliver the killing blow. For example, when you run out of power, Freddy is the highest priority so that they can guarantee that he jump scares you. This also stops any other animatronic from being able to jump scare you. However, the same concept also applies to the main gameplay, which results in some pretty horrifying moments. For example, getting jump scared by Foxy only to have Chica interrupt him. This cuts off Foxy's jump scare and starts Chica's jump scare, resulting in you getting 2 for the price of 1. So you get double the value of your scare, making you crap your pants double time. And that's not the only one that can get interrupted. If you're getting jump scared by Chica, Bonnie, Foxy, or Freddy, you can run out of power and be temporarily saved. This stops their jump scares and does the whole setup of another Freddy one thanks to there being no power. This can actually also help save you if you're close to 6 AM, since like I said, the time is still counting when you're waiting for Freddy to get you. So if you do get jump scared just before it turns 6 and then you run out of power, you can actually still win, but that's a lot of conditions. And technically, you can get jump scared by Foxy, have it interrupted by Chica, then have it interrupted by Freddy in that way. And at 4, silence. This actually happened to me in one of our videos titled Everything Goes Wrong in FNAF VR, and honestly, everything went wrong in FNAF VR. I was playing the Foxy Corn Maze minigame when all of a sudden my screen went black and my audio cut out. This was certainly not intentional in the game since, you know, it relies on sound, but once my camera came back, I wasn't able to hear anything at all, so I had to try to complete the game with no audio. I have to be honest, absolutely horrifying. The only kind of relieving part about it was that I didn't have to listen to the crows, or the actual relief my bowels felt into my pants. But in all honesty, this glitch was absolutely atrocious. Having to navigate a maze with no audio indication as to where Foxy could be or where the purple key is going to be, that was probably the worst thing that could have happened. And I had to heighten all my other senses to get an idea for what was next. I felt like Daredevil, kind of, but like hearing Daredevil. My visuals, okay, that was the best clue I had, so I had to make sure that my eyes could pick up on every minute detail. Okay, 10 out of 10, horrifying. Don't recommend. At least the jump scare wasn't as bad. Getting close to the end in number 3, long jump scare. In the same vein as a double jump scare, we have the long jump scare. Now, this is only in the same vein as the other one because they both have to do with jump scares. However, in FNAF 1, it was possible to prolong a jump scare and continue the night. The only difficulty behind this would be that you had to keep pulling the monitor back up before the jump scare completes. If you were able to do this though, the jump scare would reset, but also time would keep progressing. So in theory, if you could keep it up long enough, giggity, then you would be able to keep the jump scare going until the end of the night. Hell, even from 1 AM to 6 AM you could be getting jump scared. It would just be difficult to keep going long enough for the night to finish. However, with Viagra, today's sponsor, you can keep it up all night long. No, I'm kidding. We're not sponsored by Viagra. Are you kidding me? Could you imagine? You think someone who talks about Five Nights at Freddy's and comic books on the internet for a living is going to get sponsored by that little blue pill? That's hilarious. Self-digs aside, this is certainly a scary glitch. Cause you know, jump scare. Can you tell that it's a rough mental health day? It's a no bones day. Penultimately, in number 2, Overpowered Springtrap. Apparently, FNAF VR flat mode has a lot of bugs that result in ultimate horror. Well, during the FNAF 3 sections of FNAF VR flat mode's gameplay, you have to fend off Springtrap, obviously. However, for some reason, apparently there's a glitch that results in Springtrap being insanely overpowered and being able to jump scare you instantly. It's unknown what causes this glitch, but apparently at times if Springtrap enters the vents, he can instantly make his way to the end, despite the vents being closed. The only way to prevent this is by putting the camera on one vent like one of the vent cameras and then leaving it there. If you don't, Springtrap can just make his way through the entire vent system instantaneously. He also is just able to make his way to your door instantly and jump scare you apparently, which in this version of FNAF 3 is scarier since it's more of a jarring jump scare rather than the originally slow moving towards the camera at you kind of thing that pissed everyone off. But still, instant death, definitely not a nice and thoughtful glitch. Finally, in at number 1, you lose. Another one I got off the Steam forums thanks to a specific user, this time known as Weezer. They said, I had a bug in FNAF 2 and Night 2 in FNAF VR flat mode where I had the Freddy mask on while fending off Toy Bonnie. It hits 6 AM, I take the mask off and get immediately jump scared, making me lose the night even when I beat it, which is an odd way of putting it, but what I believe he means is that the game made him take off his mask because it was 6 AM, but then he ended up getting jump scared, which is odd because beating the night mechanic should be more of a priority and actually should prevent any animatronic from jump scaring you, even if it's just a layout that pops up on the screen. However, if the game clock said 6 AM and you took the mask off before Bonnie was gone, that's kind of your own fault, man. Even if the clock said 6, since the clock doesn't normally say 6 and the night just ends. Cause if the night would just end if it was supposed to say 6. I mean, I don't know what's scarier though, getting jump scared when you should have beaten the night, or the fact that the shift didn't end at 6 and you'd probably be working there forever, 24/7.
Number 10, mask safety. So we're starting with something that admittedly is not the most scary, but don't worry, we're gonna get there. Also, as Connor said, he dragged me here, okay? This was a hard list to do, so I hope you all enjoy it. Mewtwo Gamer brought this one to my attention, and I want to say thank you so much for doing so. They shouted it out in the comments for the part 1 to this list, and here Mewtwo basically shared that when they were playing a game of FNAF 2, when they put on the Freddy mask and went to go check their screens, the mask actually remained on. Now, this surprised and startled them. Also, I feel like looking at a screen through a mask is just really creepy. Like, just as a visual, that's creepy. Perhaps this happened during the pandemic and the game was just like glitching to like match mask safety protocols at the time. They're like, keep that mask on, protect yourself from jump scares, and also other people from your breath and your spit. Whatever the reasoning, this is a glitch that would definitely be startling to experience, but also pretty useful as it gives you a sense of protection while you flip through the cams, which I like.
In at 9, Glitchtrap. Yep, that's right. Technically, Glitchtrap is supposed to be a glitch in the grand scheme of the FNAF story, even though this doesn't actually end up being truly the case. But, you know, it's like someone orchestrated his creation, but it's close enough. In the story that we're told, with the exception of what Tape Girl's insider information tells us, that because, you know, we technically shouldn't have it, Glitchtrap is an unintentional glitch in the game. In our world, it's an intentional feature, hence why I'm putting it higher on the list, but by simple scariest glitch standards, technically Glitchtrap is the scariest glitch and should be number 1, since none of these other glitches will actually take over your brain and cause you to go on a mass killing spree because a kid serial killer possessed your noggin. But hey, what do I know, right? I know a lot. We've made over 300 goddamn FNAF videos, okay? We know quite a bit about this series, so don't come for us in the comments. We know our shit.
We know too much.
Cool your business.
Number 8, Bonnie pop-up. One of the glitches that was originally experienced in this game was actually via Scott Cawthon himself. And now, it wasn't so much a glitch as part of the playtesting and development of the game, I suppose. But hey, you know, you gotta find things like this to avoid experiencing them in the future, and so at the time, it was kind of a glitch, you know what I mean? Which is why I would still consider it one. Albeit one that was removed before the game's release, so not one that you experienced. You, the player. Scott was testing the mechanics for these animatronics when he found himself surprised by Bonnie, who had actually snuck up on the cameras and was actually in a place that they weren't really supposed to be in. This startled Scott, scaring him and firmly cementing that Bonnie was the most terrifying animatronic in the game. At least, in Scott's mind.
In at 7, Withered Bonnie Ghost. In FNAF 2, Withered Bonnie is probably one of the scariest animatronics in the game. Possibly because of, like, you know, the lack of face. It makes it look more like a robot instead of an anthropomorphized animal. And I mean, like, if we're honest, the only thing that makes these animatronics not terrifying is the fact that they are animals. But with Withered Bonnie, you don't really get that kind of recognition since, you know, there's no face. However, this glitch either has a load of implications, which causes me to get terrified because of what I'm gonna have to think about to explain it, or it's scary because, like, honestly, what the hell? When Withered Bonnie shows up in your office in FNAF 2, it's actually possible to make them disappear. And I don't mean by putting on the Freddy head or closing the game. Rather, I mean by flicking the left vent light on and off. Bonnie will look like they're blinking out of reality, like anyone who interacts with their parents in a time travel movie. No idea why this actually happens. It could just be that you turning the light on is just an image that flashes on screen in that particular section, and that's how it works mechanics wise. So it would replace Bonnie when it was on, and if there's someone in the vent then it's just a different image, but still, it's pretty freaky.
Number 6, red light, green light. What's scarier than an animatronic moving when you're not looking? How about an animatronic that moves when you are looking? Now, this is a glitch that some people have experienced before because, well, in one way, it kind of isn't a glitch. If you see an animatronic that moves while you're watching on a screen, but then the screen goes to static in between that movement, or goes, briefly to black, this is actually normal. However, the glitch happens when you see the animatronic straight up vanish without any static or any darkness accompanying it. This is something players like our wonderful sub Mewtwo Gamer have experienced. It's creepy and oddly not uncommon. If this were Squid Game, any animatronics caught moving in this way would be eliminated, by the way. Yikes. Has anyone created a Squid Game FNAF mashup game, by the way? Because I feel like that needs to happen, if it hasn't already. Has it happened already? Link me.
Halfway through into number 5, you win, loser. FNAF AR is certainly an interesting adaptation of the games, making your room the security office, having to defend yourself from animatronics using shocks, and then ordering more animatronics that will attack you just for the fun of it, I guess. Even animatronic versions of their famous serial killer. Well, I won't even get into that. I still don't know why they thought that was a good idea. Well, according to Reddit user Plasma Dev, they experienced a glitch that did not make them happy. And no, it wasn't a glitch that made Chica get a little too close, because that would have made you happy. Instead, as he put it, quote, "I was caught off guard when an animatronic was rushing me. I turned around and zapped the animatronic fast. He disappeared like I was about to get jump scared, but then it also made a noise as if I won. I got the screen saying my streak had increased and that I got parts, except my streak reset after that screen. It appeared that I had zapped him at the last possible millisecond, and it registered both as me losing and winning." Which I have to say, that's pretty brutal, especially if you had a high streak. As anyone who uses Snapchat aside from me will know, high streaks are apparently the only thing that matters.
Number 4, rude animatronics. This is a thing that happened, or maybe still happens, in FNAF VR in FNAF levels 1 to 3. Right when you think you're about to win the game, the clock is shown rolling over to 6 AM from 5 AM, and you can actually get interrupted at that time by a toy animatronic like Toy Freddy or Toy Chica, or even a regular animatronic like Freddy or Foxy. Whichever rude animatronic you happen to get will pop up and jump scare you in the middle of the winning animation where the clock rolls over to 6 AM. This is not only terrifying, but of course, it's very frustrating. I'm not sure if this glitch is still around, but apparently it was a thing that multiple players experienced as late as 2019, from what I can see in the Steam forums, and it was something that needed to be patched. One of our subscribers even seems to have experienced this glitch as recently as this year. Ray Logan shared their very own live play vid of this happening to them just as they were about to win. I'm so sorry you had to go through that, my friend. That seems like it would be awful.
Getting close to the end into number 3, go Twitches. Yes, I'm referring to the Disney Channel original movie Twitches, and yes, I'm using it in reference to FNAF. Deal with it. Apparently, the animatronics can just start freaking out when in the middle of jump scaring you, resulting in probably what is actually a scarier jump scare. Like, these animations for the original FNAF jump scares are pretty simple, which results in them being predictable after your first couple goes, but this glitch allows an element of unexpectedness. It throws that into the mix and can really make things seem hella creepy. Anything that seems like it's not intentional is always creepy as hell. Like, if Scott had made these jump scares, or at least had them be intentionally sporadic like this, the game would have actually been a lot freakier. This glitch is actually what inspired the thumbnail of the last part as well, and it's probably gonna also be the thumbnail of this part. Just, it's freaking nuts. It's scary. Okay.
Number 2, wiggle equals death. This was an early glitch that was also removed prior to Sister Location's full release, but it was experienced by one of my favorite game playing and overall just comedic YouTubers, Markiplier. He was granted early access to Sister Location, and it was during this early playthrough that he had a very frustrating time when he was put in the spring lock suit by Circus Baby and had to wiggle to shake off the mini arenas while also winding up the spring locks. Now, it turns out he had such an impossible time the first time around because the difficulty was accidentally left like super way way up on this part of the game, or it was just set to a level that was way too difficult. His playing it actually allowed Scott Cawthon to see the glitch here and tweak this part of the game prior to its full release. Thank goodness. Otherwise, pretty much all of us would never be able to progress past this horrifying part of the game. Seriously though, I think this is one of the scariest parts of Sister Location for me. Mini arenas. Ugh.
And finally, in at number 1, Invisible Springtrap. This is why I say leave your thoughts in the comments, because it helps us if we end up having to make another part to these series. Because thanks to its raining nans on the last part in the original top 10 scary FNAF glitches ever, I have now learned about probably the scariest glitch ever. How Springtrap can actually turn invisible in FNAF 3 in FNAF VR. Now, I haven't personally experienced this glitch since I haven't played much of FNAF VR. I'm waiting for my own channel to get the subs, but according to its raining nans, this is freaking nuts. It's one of the worst experiences you can have. Since, you know, Springtrap turns invisible, making him basically impossible to defend against. Now, granted, they did leave out some vital information, like an explanation. Like, in what way is he invisible? Like, if it's on the cameras, or if it's in the vents, or if it's just everywhere, since if you could see him at the door, like if you turn to look at the door, at least you'd be able to see that he's there, and then you could like try to like scare him away, even if you couldn't see him on the cameras. But I think like invisible anything, especially an animatronic empowered killer, is going to be worthy of the number 1 spot, straight up. If this isn't real though, blame its raining nans, not me. And that's why I picked this comment, because I don't get to take the blame.